Hey guys, Lively here. I create and maintain a mod list for Fallout 4 called Magnum Opus, and today I'm going to show you a handful of MCMs that you may want to customize for yourself. At the start of the game, you are strongly encouraged to run the MCM preset provided for you. This preset makes a lot of changes, and there's even two of them based on whether you're playing with a controller or with a keyboard and mouse. I'm going to operate under the assumption that you're using the latter since I personally play with the keyboard, and honestly I just don't have the desire to oversee any controller support, so I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Let's talk about one of the basic changes that you're likely to notice first thing, the full screen Pip-Boy. Some people find this jarring, and it seems to be a bit buggy for controller users, though again I cannot personally attest to this. If you want the quote old Pip-Boy back, simply open your mod config menu, head on down to the Baka full screen Pip-Boy option, expand the general tab, and turn the enable status to off. Now you can use the classic Pip-Boy interface instead of the new full screen one. Though do keep in mind, the vanilla Pip-Boy interface is directly tied to your field of view, or FOV, which we will cover here right now. Huzzah! If you want to customize your FOV, you'll need to do it in the custom camera MCM. I get a lot of people complaining about this, saying that the console commands to reset their FOV didn't work, which it's not supposed to, it's overwritten by custom camera. Fortunately, I wrote a pretty lengthy FAQ covering this exact thing, but it doesn't seem to be super effective, so let's cover it in video format instead. Head on down to the Custom Camera tab and expand the Miscellaneous section. Here you'll find all of your FOV sliders. Change them to your liking, but wait! You're not done yet! You have to save these to their own profiles here. Simply select an empty profile here and select Save Profile. You can also set each profile to a hotkey to easily toggle between them as much as you like. Next up, Fatigue. You may also soon notice that your AP will drain while aiming down sights with any weapon. This is from a mod called Fatigue and grants you the ability to steady your aim without being forced to hold a key, which is especially noticeable when using weapons with scopes. If you find that this feature isn't to your liking, you can disable it in much the same way you can disable full screen Pip-Boy. Simply toggle the mod off in the MCM, and now you're back to the standard vanilla way of aiming and holding your breath. Now we should talk about true damage. Magnum Opus version 7 is a lot harder than previous iterations of the mod list. If you want to adjust incoming and outgoing damage to your liking, pop open the True Damage MCM and change the appropriate sliders to your liking. This can be done at any time and will take effect immediately, so this is a good way to self-balance your game as you level up. Speaking of leveling up, the DLC Timing MCM dictates when each official DLC quest mod starts. These are delayed by a fair amount in Opus, primarily due to the difficulty spikes in the list. Robots are a lot harder, and the Nuka World Raiders hit like trucks. You can change these if you want, with one caveat. They have to be set to at least one level higher than your current player level, or else the event will never trigger and the DLC will never start. For our next party trick, we've got Workshop Plus. This mod, to me, is a literal godsend, but it does come at a price. It can break your jetpacks and occasionally leave you in what's called a ghost state. This makes you impervious to all damage and rads, and will break your ability to enter VAFs. Fortunately, the MCM is pretty expansive, and you can toggle features on and off to your liking. I'd also recommend heading down to the hotkeys and setting up an undo function, just in case you accidentally scrap something you shouldn't have scrapped. And when it comes to scrapping, Fall UI Confirm Boxes also has an option to re-enable the dialog box that confirms what you're scrapping and tells you the resources you get for doing so. Feel free to toggle this back on if you want. I merely have it off because I spam the hell out of the scrapping function. Fall UI Map has the ability to add favorites to your Pip-Boy's map screen, which only show up once you've discovered one of those favorited locations. You'll see I've got a few set up for myself, but you are of course free to change these to whatever map markers you like for quick access to your own favorite locations. Another quick one to check is the VAFs Redux MCM, specifically for the critical widget. A lot of people take issue with my setup and complain pretty incessantly about the visibility of the critical bar on the HUD. This can be easily dismissed or conditioned in the MCM here, so you can set it up however you like. You can have it always showing, only when you're in focus, or when you're in combat, or when you're aiming, so on and so forth. So feel free to choose the options that you find most comfortable. Another common change is done through the Fall UI Inventory MCM. This is the one that controls all of your UI colors for various menus, such as the Inventory menu, Trade and Barter menu, and Workshop menu, just to name a few. You can use this to edit the colors to your liking, though changing the HUD itself will also require a few minor I edits to the Pip-Boy color values, but you can Google that pretty easily. Another frequent question is how to find different sets of power armor that are added to the mod list. These distributions are all handled by a mod called Power Armor to the People, and you can see the exact factions and drop rate frequencies in the related MCM. So, for all the people asking me where to find XO1 Power Armor, here's where you find out. Have fun. And finally comes the biggest MCM of all, Sim Settlements 2. This incredibly massive mod also allows you to set it up so you can play however you like. Anything between full automation and complete manual control over everything is available. I would, however, strongly urge you not to turn on the cinematic mode for building city plans, as this has a tendency to bug out in Magnum Opus and never actually build anything. I also would recommend against enabling the Demolition FX, as this can be pretty taxing on any system. Everything else, however, is entirely up to you and your own personal preferences, so feel free to play around with this stuff as much as you want. I will say, however, that a lot of these settings won't make a whole lot of sense until you progress further through chapters 2 and 3, so feel free to come back to this whenever you think something needs tweaking to suit your playstyle. There are a lot of different settings and menus in Magnum Opus, like Faster Workshop, BS Defense, Bastion, Disable Companion Collision, and dozens of others. I would strongly encourage you to go through these at your leisure and find different ways to make the game more enjoyable for yourself. And remember, if you ever feel like you broke something, you can always simply reapply the MCM preset provided for you, or rerun Wabbajack to get back to the default settings. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you learned something here today, and of course thank you to all my Patreon supporters, I could not do this without you. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and happy modding!